Please remain standing for the national anthem. in our school culture. Please be seated. Just one reminder to parents before we get started. When graduates come to the stage to receive their diplomas, please do not block the aisles or the front of the stage. Thank you. Superintendent Carter, members of the Board of Education, teachers and staff, parents, families, and students, welcome and bienvenido to the commencement exercises for the class of 2024 and the 85th graduation exercises for Housatonic Valley Regional High School. Thank you to everyone joining us today on this special occasion and for everything that each of you has done to help make this day possible. In particular, I need to thank the class advisors, Beth Deneen and Alan Lovejoy, as well as class president, Vinny Cousins. There is always a team of staff members who are not up here on the dais, but without whom we would not be here. And I also want to thank Executive Secretary Julie Lang and Head of Maintenance Jeff Lloyd and his staff for their meticulous attention to every detail that went into today's celebration, including plans A, B, and C. Lastly, a huge thanks to Dr. Fellows for coordinating this, his 29th and final ceremony. Thank you, Dr. Fellows. I'd like to say that this class, with its uniform caps and gowns, is much like every other class that has graduated from Housatonic Valley Regional High School, or for that matter, any high school in America. But the fact of the matter is that for me at least, the class of 2024 will always hold a special significance because it also happens to be the year when my daughter Emily will graduate from high school tomorrow, in fact. So in thinking about my message to this class, if you'll indulge a bit of paternal sentimentality, I'd like to consider just what kind of advice I would offer to someone whose face I've also seen covered in pureed carrots. For starters, Housatonic. In the words of the immortal George Costanza, we're living in a society here. That's just one of the social graces we've tried to instill in you since you arrived on this planet. Miraculous, yes. Adorable, sure, but also unable to wipe your own butt. Year by year, we nurtured you like a bonsai tree, pruning the unkempt growth and attempting to groom you into someone who looks refined yet still natural. It's exhausting work. Around the time you were potty trained, we began to burden you with career planning. Half an hour spent in the Fisher-Price kitchen could be a Michelin-rated chef. Afternoon in the sandbox, future real estate mogul. Or conversely, a professional hamburger flipper or ditch digger. The possibilities were both thrilling and terrifying. It was at about that age when Emily threw a tantrum that, if replicated on an adult scale, would qualify her for a seat in Congress. And like a senator, she was making a principled stand for an inalienable American right, the freedom to retain the big, fat, green smoothie straw that she had just dropped in the Panera parking lot. The wisdom and perspective of years suggested to Emily's father that perhaps this bit of plastic, now crushed under a car tire, might not be worth saving. But she was not to be denied. The ensuing 20 minutes of wailing reached Wagnerian proportions with an operatic crescendo that ascended from somewhere in the diaphragm, that guttural sound that transcends just mere crying. By that time, I had wrestled her into the car seat and closed the door for a moment of peace and quiet. I watched through the glass, her writhing in agony over her departed straw while I gathered my sanity for the drive home. In that moment, I could have easily opened the door and comforted her, assuring her that everything was going to be all right. I could have made funny faces through the window to distract her. I could have given her a pacifier. I could have pulled up an episode of Dora the Explorer and endured once more that theme song whose cloying melody will no doubt echo in my ears on my deathbed. But the point is, I had options. I found myself on the other side of that glass, and for the first time in my life, I realized I was an adult. I honestly can't furnish any single detail from my high school or college graduation ceremonies, but this moment with Emily was my commencement ceremony, when the full burden of my adulthood pressed down on me like a weighted blanket. That kid was depending on me to get back in that car and figure it out. And figure it out I did, perhaps with some help from high school geometry. In those days, we wrote these formal proofs. If A is true and B is true, then C must be true. So if a child is crying and they've already eaten and pooped, then they must be tired. And if that doesn't work, you better find a pediatrician. That's the best I could do with my Catholic school education, but once the car started rolling that day, Emily soon fell asleep to visions of Technicolor smoothie straws and My Little Pony. I graduated. But I was far from knowing what I was doing. Most graduation speeches would have you believe that you are the master of your own destiny and that you can do anything or go anywhere. And while that is true, even this next sentence could go anywhere. As I was writing this speech, there was a big, blank, endless screen below my cursor waiting to be filled with text. And despite possessing a master's degree in English, I'm still always uncertain about how I'm going to fill it. Each time I choose one word, I do not choose another. And with each choice, the options for the next word become more and more limited. As artificial intelligence begins to choose those words for us, it completes our sentences with the most likely conclusions, allowing the essays of our lives to be written by an outside force that provides the most predictable sentences. And thinking about that word sentence now, the double entendre rings true. To live a life of predictable sentences is to be sentenced to a life of foregone conclusions. Why did we make you take 4 years of English? When will you ever write another essay? Well, starting today, you begin writing the essay of your life with a big, blank, endless screen in front of you. Most of the time, you're writing a draft, dwelling in possibility. You're deleting one word, typing in another, and when you come back to your computer tomorrow morning, you'll decide the whole thing is a mess. None of it was what you wanted it to be. Keep writing. Go back and consider the meaning of your first sentence. Think again about the use of the word serendipity and whether it sounds too much like the name of a lollipop brand to decide how you stumbled into your first job. Think about using that story about your daughter in a smoothie straw as a metaphor for adulthood. But whatever you do, think. Because the difference between Emily, age 4, and Emily or any one of you at age 18 is that she can put reason above emotion. she can suppress the fantastic appeal of a lime green smoothie straw for the long-term benefit of not being hit by a car to retrieve one. She knows that there will be other straws of equal appeal, and that there are more important objects and values than a piece of plastic that for 20 minutes constituted her entire reason for being. She can find meaning in a green straw, or not, and decide whether it is worth risking her life to save it. The Founding Fathers risked their lives for the cause of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For them, the word pursuit was the most important word in that sentence, and happiness meant something more than hedonistic pleasure. The pursuit of happiness, then, was about working toward long-term virtues through the kinds of daily reflections, corrections, and adjustments that are the hard work of a lifetime. And being good doesn't necessarily mean behaving yourself or blindly following rules. After all, the Founding Fathers were responsible for one of the greatest revolutions in human history, but they were also far from perfect. Among them were slave owners, womanizers, and debtors who struggled with their demons too. And while we've etched their faces onto the sides of mountains, historians have begun to reassess their goodness. So no, the Founding Fathers were not perfect. Neither was the greatest generation, baby boomers, Generation X, or myself for that matter. But what the Founding Fathers brilliantly anticipated was the necessity of education to help us learn from mistakes and adapt to inevitable change. The class of 2024 has already faced and will continue to face change at a pace no other generation has experienced. And the day will come, unannounced, when you too will encounter your real commencement. It will be the first of several. A few months ago, when listening to our jazz band play Goodbye My Heart at our spring concert, I found myself filled with emotion, to the point of tears. Something about that melody and the long, measured notes from the saxophone unlocked the chamber of my heart, where I discovered that I was once again at a commencement. That little girl with the green straw can now drive the car, and eventually she may need to buckle me into the seat to get to a Panera. She could drive me anywhere, really. It's terrifying. But along with your parents, I know it's time to turn over the keys. Thank you, congratulations, and best wishes to the class of 2024. And now, please welcome Region 1 Superintendent Lisa Carter to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you. It's so nice to see you all here. I want to join Ian, the Housatonic Valley Regional High School staff, Pupil Services, and the Central Office staff, and the Region 1 Board of Education in welcoming everyone to the 2024 graduation. Congratulations to you, the graduates. Yay! You all here. And also congratulations to your families, caregivers, and friends who are here with you tonight. Thank you all for being here, and I just wish I could do anything to change the weather. The love and care of those who have taken care of you during your lifelong partnership is so important to foster all of you in your continued success along your life path. Last year, I began a superintendent graduation practice, which I suppose could be short-lived since this is my last graduation ceremony. However, I would like to announce that the person who is going to be here in my place next year is sitting in the audience. So I would love if Melanie Brady Shanley would stand for a minute, if we could all welcome her as your next superintendent. Now we're so glad you could join us, and thank you for being here. So anyway, I decided on this new practice that in the interest of allowing more time for our students and guest speakers, that now I also have to consider the comfort factor. I've chosen not to give a speech again. However, before I turn things back over to Mr. Strieber, I would like to extend the same wishes and a bit of advice that I shared last year to each and every one of you. Use your self-confidence and ability to self-advocate and explore all of the exciting opportunities that lay before you. Remain curious such that your lives are full of wonderment and awe. Fill your hearts with kindness and love towards yourselves and others. Believe that as a result of experiencing daunting challenges, for example, a global pandemic, that you are strong, resilient, and moving forward. Be well, and remember to take good care of your physical and mental health, and know that you are now and forever loved by all of us in Region 1. Best of luck to all of you in the next steps of your life journey, and please come back and visit us in the future. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Lisa. At this time, we would like to ask Dana Sicardi, salutatorian of the class of 2024, to come to the podium for her message to her fellow graduates.
Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations to the class of 2024. To add a little context to my speech, I'm going to ask for some audience participation. One last quiz for the class of 2024. So, look back, remember freshman year. Remember what cohorts you were in, A or B. So now, class of 2024, please raise your hand if you were in cohort A. Raise your hand. All right, you can raise it down. All right. Now, please raise your hand if you are in cohort B. Congratulations, you all passed. I want to look at where we started. Class of 2024, we started our freshman year divided. Our class was split into two cohorts, cohort A and cohort B, as you've just seen. We only went to school 2 days a week. Half of us came into the building on Monday, Tuesday, and the other half on Thursday, Friday. So for a small class, this meant that we only really knew a handful of people. And for much of the time, our faces were hidden from each other. But today, we end our 4 years together aside, able to see each other's faces and enjoy our class's final moments together. Looking back at the beginning of our high school years and those memories make me laugh. Because it's weird to think this is how we started our high school experience. It was supposed to be our next big step. It was going to be a new and exciting journey. Well, it was definitely new and different. And even though we may have complained, it was still pretty fun, and I can look back with a smile on my face. And to quote a movie I have watched many a times, The Lion King, when the world turns its back on you, you turn your back on the world. And despite how this may have worked for a meerkat and a warthog, it is no way for people to live. We have to find the good in any situation. We cannot wait for it to pass and for things to get better on their own, because once the storm passes, there will always be another challenge. It is like the writer Vivian Green says, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning how to dance in the rain. And getting caught up on the negative things can cloud your mind, making it difficult to see all the wonderful things around us. Finding the good that exists, even in trying times, can make things easier. We can't just wait we cannot just wait it out, because the next thing you know, there will be another troublesome problem. We may have started high school years off in the middle of a global pandemic, but we didn't give up. We adapted to our environment to make the best of a bad situation. We were able to have homecoming outside during the cold month of November. Don't worry, we had heaters to warm us up in the freezing cold night. We had a bonfire where we were able to get to know our new classmates in the light of the flames. And after a year, cohorts ended, and we were finally able to be in full class again. So, look back at your past 17, 18 years. Look back at the towns you lived in, the schools that you went to. It is where most of us started, where we had our childhood. They are the foundation of our memories, good and bad. Where we go from here is our choice, but always remember where you came from, because you will always be welcome back into your community. When remembering what you have enjoyed and what challenges you have faced, take what you have learned from those experiences and carry them into the future. So now, as we leave this place, go dance in the ring and take every opportunity that comes your way and continue to make the best of a bad situation.
Thank you, Dana. Please welcome to our 2024, to the podium, our 2024 Senior Class President, Finn Club.
Welcome, class of 2024, family, guests, faculty, and Board of Education. My fellow classmates, this is a moment we have all been waiting for. I mean it. For most of us, and all of us who started in Region 1 kindergarten, this is our first actual graduation. 4 years ago, I was sitting in the back of my family's minivan, driving in circles around the Sharon Center School parking lot as our middle school celebrated our graduation. At least that's what they called it, a graduation. Although, as I'm sure everyone realized at the time, it was anything but what we had anticipated for years prior. A graduation is the celebration of accomplishment. So much celebration, so much recognition we missed out on. Recognition that we were entitled to as graduates of our respective middle schools. Entitlement. Such a fascinating double-edged sword. On the one hand, it has a negative meaning, the possession of an attitude of superiority. It also has a positive meaning, exemplifying all we deserve as graduates, youth, and human beings. It stands for all of the recognition we should have been granted for having faced adversity, leaving our middle schools and entering our high school amid a pandemic. It is no secret that our class has faced unusual circumstances, ranging from getting little to no closure from our middle schools, starting freshman year going to school 2 days a week, to having an unusually small class size. These factors have made our school experience very unconventional, to say the least. We did not have the same opportunities to build relationships with our peers, teachers, and faculty. We didn't even know what our classmates looked like without masks on. Our lives were full of disappointments, lost opportunities, and postponements. We got used to not expecting much, let alone what we wanted or dreamed of. Our class is recovering from that unfortunate and non-traditional transition. But as class president, it has been such an amazing pleasure to watch my classmates grow and mature over these 4 years. I have witnessed friends of mine go from being so shy, being barely able to talk in class, to captaining the robotics team in state competitions, or starring in the school play and winning awards for their performances. Although I have never participated in the ACT program here at Housatonic, it has been so amazing to see the community that is built and all the lifelong memories and friendships that are created through the AGAT program. We as a class have overcome so many obstacles, and it is finally time to receive the recognition we have so long deserved. We are entitled to celebrate and honor each other. That is the strong, mutually supportive, responsible meaning of entitlement. Although, as I mentioned before, this concept of entitlement carries two meanings. The negative is believing oneself is inherently deserving of better treatment than someone else. You see, when all the celebration dies down over the coming weeks, it is absolutely crucial that we keep an awareness of these meanings in our heads and our hearts. We have an immense responsibility as the future generation of people taking on the world. We must recognize how fortunate we are to have received such a valuable education here at Housatonic, as so many people around the world do not receive that same opportunity. This brings me back to my point about entitlement. We have to understand we are no better than anyone else. The only person we must strive to be better than is ourselves. I strongly urge you all to go to bed every night with a sense of entitlement, that you are better than the person you were when you woke up in the morning. And to repeat this the next day, and the day after that. Because this is how we create change, by first growing as individuals and becoming the best version of ourselves. So this is not about entitlement when you have something you did not deserve at the expense of someone else. This is the entitlement to have dreams and the possibility to have them come true together, finally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Finn. At this time, we will hear from our AFS exchange students. Tara Jalden from North Macedonia returned home last week, but recorded her thoughts this year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tara, and I was an exchange student this year at Housatonic. I want to begin by saying congratulations to the whole senior class of 2024. I am so proud of you all, and I am beyond happy to have the chance to befriend so many of you and share special memories together. I'll never forget, actually, the strange questions I would get about my home country, which is North Macedonia. The amount of times I had to say, "No, I am not from Macedonia Park in Kent," is quite remarkable. Not to mention the whole "are you the girl from Mesopotamia" shenanigans. You know who you are. Anyway, this feels really weird to have the opportunity to speak about my year here and say goodbye, because I feel that I've just started a new chapter in my life, and I'm definitely not done yet. At one point, I forgot that I was an exchange student and that this would not be forever. Then again, nothing really is. I learned how to live in the moment and take in everything around me to make the best of it. I have so many people to thank, but I want to start with the Housatonic Musical Theater Society. Overall, for just adding to my love for theater, and especially to Mr. Krupa for introducing me to so many new things in music, and I plan to excel in that in the future. I want to thank all my friends too for being by my side and for all of our creative endeavors together. Creating art with you has been nothing short of extraordinary. Also, thanks for giving me rides to places. Thank you to all my teachers and faculty members for being so welcoming. And thank you to my local coordinator, Gail Allen, for all of your support throughout the year. Last but definitely not least, thank you to my host parents, Becky and Dave Seeley, for giving me a second home. All this would literally be impossible without you. I was ready for this year to be a wild journey, but something that I was not expecting was the interesting vocabulary I acquired, such as you ate, that bus, fire, lit, and that's deep. In case you don't know how to use this, here's an example. This year was fire, you guys bust, and it's not that deep that I'm leaving because I will be back. Make what you will out of that. In return for this tremendously enriching terminology, I would like to leave you all with one Macedonian phrase, and that is Besakim. It means I love you, and I do. Goodbye, Huzi. Thank you.
Next, Naomi Lesamana from Norway will share a few words.
Good evening, everyone, and congratulations to the class of 2024. Dear fellow students, faculty, and staff, many of you know me as the Norwegian and Kenyan exchange student. Others know me as Naomi Lesamana. As I stand before you today, I'm filled with excitement, gratitude, and a touch of sadness. As we come together to mark the end of the school year, end of high school, and end of my exchange year here at Housatonic Valley Regional High School. It feels like just yesterday that I walked up the steps, filled with anticipation and a sense of wonders at the adventures that lay ahead. And now, as I prepare to bid farewell, I'm overwhelmed with the memories we have created and the bonds we have formed. I want to thank all my teachers who have made the school part of my exchange such a wonderful experience. And yes, I am grateful that you put me in that ECE class, Ms. Bucko. This is me thanking you later. I also want to thank my host family, known to many in this community, the Downses. I could not have done it without you. Because of you, against all odds, I got to stay here. At Boozy, in the village, here in Connecticut. As many of you know, I was going to move, and due to the lack of host families in the area, I would not have been able to stay and finish my year here at Housatonic, here with all of you as my peers. Tim and Andrea opened their homes to me even after they were done hosting. Tim and Andrea have hosted countless of kids over the years, so they are the experts. I want to thank you all for the Monday night dinners, all the weekend trips, all the basketball games we watched, and all the rounds of chicken foot that we played. This year has been everything and so much more than I ever hoped it could be. Coming to a foreign country for the first time, leaving home with only 2 suitcases, no family, and living with strangers seems like an impossible task. But the yield is so much bigger than the cost. I want to thank all the people I've become friends with this year. You guys took the time to talk to me, understand my culture, and accept me in this small area hidden in the Northwest Connecticut corner. I want to give a special thanks to the girls basketball team for encouraging me, giving me tips to improve, and most importantly, giving me love for the sport. I also want to thank the track team for dealing with my complaints and always encouraging me even when I wanted to quit. And for Lola for always saying yes to braid my hair. My year here has been very different from home, but it has taught me a lot in giving me invaluable life lessons and relationships that will last forever. I'm truly grateful for everyone in this community who do so much for the young people and outsiders like me. So as we bid farewell to this chapter of our lives and embark on the next stage of our journey, let's do so with gratitude for the experiences we've shared, excitement for the adventures that lie ahead, and love for those who we leave behind. It's not a goodbye, it's a see you later. As we say in Norwegian and Kenyan, vi ses senere, and they said.
Please welcome our class of 2024 essayist, Veronica Bonet, to the podium.
Hello everyone. Before I begin, I'd just like to give a quick thank you to my family, friends, educators, and parents for their endless love and support on this journey. Throughout my career at Housatonic Valley Regional High School, I've prided myself on my validity and transparency. Therefore, when I had the opportunity to submit an essay to speak at one of the biggest milestones of my academic career, I believed I was not suitable or had anything valuable or vital to share. Due to where I am in my journey of self-discovery, I believed I would be unfit for this role. And as the weeks went by, I, like many of my fellow classmates, found myself on TikTok. In the late hours of the night, I discovered a now favorite and moving piece of literature that led me to this speech. In a compilation of short stories, I discovered The Garden of Time by J.D. Ballard. While I would prefer you all to read the story yourselves and develop your own interpretation, like many of my peers, you can make do with the spark notes. The Garden of Time is about a couple who lives in isolation inside this magnificent house, which is filled with unique sculptures, exquisite paintings, and relics. While all feels peaceful, among the horizon there's an angry mob slowly approaching the couple's home each day, wanting to cause the harm to the couple in their home. But in the garden lies a particular variety of flowers, which is regarded as a time flower. Each time the couple cuts one of these flowers, the army slowly retreats and starts its approach again. However, the couple gradually realizes that its garden has stopped yielding flowers, meaning the remaining time in the safety of their home is limited. A sense of impending doom settled upon them. So with their final flower, they put away all their prized possessions and accept their fate. When the mob finally arrives at the home, the couple has turned to stone and has taken the form of two statues. and alongside their home, the couple is destroyed by the angry mob. I formed an immediate connection with this story because my generation is seemingly stuck in a pattern, approaching everything with a fast-paced sense of urgency, whether it is global or political issues, graduation, or a future career decision that are slowly approaching, appearing as everything is closing in on us. I realize I am losing time by mistakenly waiting for something to approach me when I should embrace life in fear. With this story, I was able to compare it to an impending issue that has been on the forefront of our minds since we were younger. The inescapable fate of our world if we do not face the climate crisis. There is a time clock in New York that states how much time we have before the point of irreversible damage, which at present is exactly 5 years and 38 days from this date. It is easy to get lost in our own lives, but it is vital to acknowledge the point of no return as we approach the next 5 years. We can apply this approach to this impending issue into most aspects of life. Do not just accept the fate or decision that was made for you. Challenge this decision. Housatonic has ingrained in us to strive for proficiency. Starting our new journeys, we should be ready to advocate for more, not just for ourselves, but for the world as a whole. Since our final year at Housatonic began, I have truthfully felt like everything was closing in around me. Whether it was taking my first steps into adulthood, to having to say goodbye to the only home I've ever known, to the people who I've shared a classroom with for years, or to finally face a new chapter of life alone. And that was my mistake. I compared these tragedies to the fragile state of our world, but I wrongfully associated that same fear with the closing of our journey at Housatonic. We are not facing our impending doom by growing up and starting over. We are not facing a tragic end like the couple in that story. We are just mourning a part of our lives that is ending. But with that ending, we get to celebrate the new beginnings that will follow. My speech began with the admission I did not believe I was suitable to speak to you today because I was not far enough along on my path to self-discovery. As it turns out, I was mistaking that process of ongoing development as a person for not knowing who I was. And while I don't know what the future may hold, I must certainly know who I am and am certain that time, an important factor in self-discovery, cannot be bought. Most importantly, I know that I am not alone in this path. Do not see the closing of our high school career as an end or a slowly approaching form of doom. If you do, you might find yourself a statue in a garden. Instead, work to view this moment, this ceremony, as a reminder to seek your own ending. Lean towards the unknown. Embrace it and life itself, as it is not as you imagined it would be. Take chances, take risks, go after those things you believe, because for those people who do, time is without limit. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. At this time, I would like to ask our 2024 commencement speaker, Dr. Carolyn Corrado, to come to the podium.
Thank you, Principal Screever, the Senior Class Council, the Class of 2024, faculty and staff, family, and friends. I am truly humbled and honored to have been asked to be this year's commencement speaker. In the 8 short minutes I have with you, you're welcome. I hope to share something that resonates with each of you. As an educator, I've heard it said that you teach the things you most need to learn. So in no particular order, I'd like to share some of the lessons I've been learning and relearning throughout my 44 years. Maybe, if you're lucky, you'll learn some of these lessons before you're 44, but maybe not. Number 1, actively practice gratitude. It's easy to take for granted all of the ways we are fortunate, and instead focus our attention on the things we wish we had, wish we were able to do, wish we were. Practicing gratitude shifts our focus and helps us notice the little wins. That first sip of coffee at just the right temperature. The joy on your kid's face when it's breakfast for dinner. Catching your dog in his midday nap belly up. I was reminded recently that this year's graduating class was hit especially hard by COVID. Your 8th grade graduation was spent circling your schools slowly, honking horns, waving signs, not your typical celebration. So tonight I'd like to begin with a moment of gratitude that we can gather close together to celebrate the graduating class of 2024. And for those of you out there giving each other a little side eye, I see you. Smile, you woke up this morning. As corny as it sounds, we're not promised anything but this moment. So find some gratitude and joy in the here and now. Your mental health will thank you. Number 2, remember your roots. You all hail from tight-knit communities in the Northwest corner. And in my 16 years of living here, I've come to embrace the intimacy and closeness that you get from small-town living. There's beauty in the small, even when it means you can't go anywhere or do anything without someone letting you know they saw you do it. So wherever you go and whatever you do, remember who you are and where you came from. Trust me when I say that you can take the kid out of the Northwest corner, but you can't take the Northwest corner out of the kid. Number 3, stay curious and be flexible. I often tell my children, which means I often tell myself, that you only get to live this life once. There's so much more beyond our little corner of the world to explore. Be curious about what you might find out there and in here as you seek new experiences, explore new landscapes, and experiment with new ways of seeing the world. And while you're at it, remember to be flexible. My nana used to say, you plan and God laughs. Rapper Talib Kweli says, life is a beautiful struggle. Be flexible when things don't go the way you planned or the way they were supposed to. The rock in the river is the river also. Bend, don't break when life throws you off course. Pack a snack and remember, always bring back up. Number 4, share your story. Maya Angelou famously said, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. We humans are built for storytelling, and we all have a story or 2 to share. Use your stories as a means of connection with others. Use your stories to become who you needed when you were younger. But before you can do all that, learn to love your story and develop the bravery needed to share it with the world. Number 5, consider the legacy you are willing to work for. While we're on the topic of storytelling, every day you wake up, you are writing a part of your story, adding to the chapters of your life. And as you imagine the story you're writing, consider the mark you want to make on the world, the legacy you want to leave. The truth is that we're all building our legacies every day, step by step. Yes, even you at 17, 18, 19 years old. The thing is, some people spend their entire lives writing the same chapter over and over and over again. So be sure to carve out time alone with yourself. And in those quiet moments ask, what kind of legacy do I want to build? What kind of legacy am I willing to work for? Then, get to work. Number 6, be willing to fail epically. Failure is the last thing I thought I'd speak with you all about tonight. As a risk-averse person, my willingness to fail was minimal for most of my life. But I've come to realize that we live in a perfectionistic culture, and we need to give ourselves the grace to begin, and then keep coming back, keep restarting. After decades of advising college students, I'll let you in on a secret. Ready? It's okay not to know what you want to do or who you are. Most of us don't. Give yourself room to grow and room to try things. I can honestly say that I've gained more clarity about what I want and who I am from the jobs I didn't get, the relationships I let go of, the accolades I was passed over for, and the times I was on the outside looking in. Moments of discomfort, sadness, and even embarrassment in many ways do more for our long-term growth than pride, satisfaction, and gratification. Life, if we're lucky, is a marathon, not a sprint. And my wish for all of you is to have the bravery to be vulnerable and the confidence to fail epically. The journey is the destination. Number 7, be the voice and the echo, and remember to breathe. There will be times when you want or need to share your voice with the world, and please know that the unique perspective you embody is irreplaceable. Speak truth to power. There will also be times when others will need you to echo their voices, and some of those times you won't feel ready. Recognize the ways you are positioned by power or authority, whether that's your position in your family, seniority at your job, or because of your age, ability, education, race, gender, class, sexuality, or religion. I urge you to use your power to support and elevate others. Reach one hand back as you reach one hand forward. Build relationships. Work collaboratively. Because, in the wise words of Mariama Kaba, everything that is worthwhile is done with other people. And through it all, remember to breathe. Do it with me now. And parents, earmuffs for the young ones in the audience, okay? This is something I learned from Peloton. Inhale the good shit, and exhale the bullshit. We need a little levity, I think, with all this in, yeah? Lastly, but perhaps most importantly, hear this. Using your voice cannot be understated, but only in the presence of compassion will people allow themselves to hear the truth. Number 8, change is inevitable, growth is optional. It's been said that the only thing constant is change. The way things were or currently are is inevitably not how they will be. But accepting that basic reality can be harder than it seems at times. The thing is, while change is inevitable, growth is optional. There's nothing we can do to stop change from happening, but we do have a choice as to whether or not we grow along with that change. Number 9, whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. Let that one simmer. Turn it over in your mind. I'll say that again. Whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. Realize that you are always making choices, even when they are choices by default. Know, too, that a lot of unlearning has to happen before we will see the change that we want to see. So go out there, and as the late civil rights leader and Congressman John Lewis advised, never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. So often these types of lists provide 10 pieces of advice, but I'm leaving you with just 9. 9 leaves room for you to add your own lesson to the list, or ask an older, wiser relative or neighbor to give you theirs. 9 is also less presumptuous, more humble, and reminds us of our unfinished nature. So I'll leave you here. Graduation for many is celebrated as an ending, the recognition of something finished, a time in your life completed. I recently heard someone say that it's an act of erasure to be told that the only part of the story that matters is the end. With this in mind, I hope you'll take time to reflect on your journey and honor the late nights, inside jokes, false starts, killer comebacks, and personal achievements that led you to this very moment. I hope you'll see tonight's commencement not as an ending, but as a beginning, a starting point, an opening. It is a chance for reinvention and an opportunity to begin writing another chapter of your story. And if you have the good fortune to one day become old and gray, I hope you'll have a really great story to read, a page turner you can't put down, with an ending that no one, not even you, saw coming. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Prado. And now, please welcome the class of 2024 valedictorian, Yaritza Vega.
Good evening, everyone. Before I begin my speech, I would like to thank every single teacher at Housatonic Valley. Without their passion for the work, I would not have been able to achieve my accomplishments academically. I will forever be inspired and moved by their determination to teach valuable lessons both within the classroom and beyond. Adding on to that, I would like to thank my family and my friends. They have been my pillars of strength, witnessing my evolution through the ups and downs, always there to lend a helping hand. Among them, my parents deserve a special mention. It was my mom, Bob, who supported me in every step of the way with a substantial amount of patience. On with the speech. My earliest memories are tinged with the hues of dawn as I prepared to accompany my mother to work each morning. I recall the humid summer mornings, the car packed with cleaning supplies, along with the vacuum nobody wanted to carry, and finally, the heavy sense of responsibility that weighed me down. I often wondered if other children my age were also accompanying their parents to work, to clean houses. After waking myself to a breakfast of yogurt with granola, I couldn't help but admire the large houses we cleaned, their multiple rooms in absolute contrast to the single-room apartment that we called home. If I felt robbed of my childhood bliss, it was a consequence of my growing awareness of the struggles that my family, as immigrants, had to endure. Our life was far from comfort enjoyed by others. This realization led to an early maturity, a keen awareness of my circumstances. I was naturally the shy and quiet girl who never expressed herself in school. I stuck with this title for most of my life, the introverted girl that did not speak her mind. For so long, I believed I could not move out of this label. It is not just about talking more or talking louder. To not be afraid and to have courage and act on it, it is a task easier said than done. I had terrible habits along with growing up introverted. My nails and skin around it was always picked and bitten on, many times aching due to fresh scabs. Out of nervousness, I bit my nails, and my eyes always directed themselves downwards at the floor. I was plagued with self-doubt, always underestimating my abilities and setting low expectations for myself. I believed that I was not allowed to direct and write my own life. The most critical turning point of my life was receiving a large scholarship. The competition was fierce, with all finalists being highly qualified and possessing the ability to articulate their thoughts impeccably. As I sat in the car with my mother, my heart pounded in my chest and my fingertips tingled with anticipation. In this moment, I was faced with two choices: succumb to my old habits and let panic take over, or channel my nervous energy into confidence. For me, the key was courage. The courage to step up to the entrance and the courage to speak passionately about my interests. The funny thing is, once the interview began, it was easier than I thought. My head felt lighter and my words were fluid and articulate. Despite my fidgeting and flushed ears, I persevered, determined to seize this opportunity, regardless of the outcome. Until I achieved my goals, I believed I was fraud. I believed that my successes happened only by mistake, and I thought that my rewards did not count because I did not achieve them at an earlier time, that I wasn't the first to succeed, or that my failures outweighed my achievements, that it was simply luck or chance, and that it was not because of who I am. This is far from the truth. Mr. Osora truly inspired me through his words one day in literature class. People think their shortcomings rather than their successes define them, and that is so human. I wish I had known this sooner, as I would not have lived through such a pessimistic view in my teen years. If you succeed, be happy about it. Celebrate your successes. It doesn't matter if someone else achieved something before or faster than you. You worked for it. We all worked for it. Once I cracked the code, I tried to savor each day as much as possible, limiting myself from about my future. If I had to move on to a new chapter in life, that would also mean that everyone around me would also get older, including my parents. To me, it seemed like everything that I worked hard for, my relationships with friends and family, teachers and others, would disappear. I was indeed addicted to the past, never wanting to move on. Still, when I look up at the vast night sky, every night I wonder what my life will be and what could have been. At each twinkle of a star, my doubts subside and I let my worries go. I look down at the little critters, each small life with its purpose. And finally, I look at myself and at my hands. My hands resemble my mother's and father's hard-working hands. While mine remain soft for now, I slowly but surely realize my mother's hands getting older. Each year a new wrinkle. And I began to notice more small details like this. My mother's smile wrinkles become more prominent around her eyes and her mouth, and I reminisce about all the jokes we have shared. My father's gray hair spread around his head, a consequence from his worries for his family. The line between his eyebrows, a permanent record of me not doing the dishes. I once wanted everything to stay the same, as things are. I longed to explore what the world had to offer, but I just couldn't let go of my routine. I would not leave my corner of the world, and I was afraid of change. But the past 4 years have taught me a valuable lesson. Change is not only inevitable, but also an integral part of being human. So, what does it mean to be human? On a fundamental level, it means having the ability to communicate, to be aware of our existence. We can create, we can destroy, wage wars and grant peace. We categorize, we feel emotions ranging from greed and envy to kindness and love. We evolve, adapting to changing seasons of life. In essence, to be human is to embrace change, to adapt to every situation and overcome every obstacle that life throws our way. This is not always easy, but it is achievable. Be comfortable with change, but also be comfortable with yourself. Congratulations, class of 2024. I wish you all the best and good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yorita. At this time, we will present the diplomas to the class of 2024. Samantha Elizabeth Crodell. Lorelai Catherine Meary. Aaron Daniel Lozani. Tabar Ashraf Al-Jassi. Evan King Bochting. Kathleen Kimber Bodwell. Charlotte Lola Burke. Miranda Lynn Cable. Anya Roberto Carvalho Rodriguez. Taylor May Kristen, presented by her mother. Mia Atwell Clayton. Leonid Henry Clayton. Joshua Aaron Strong. Christos Thaddeus Curry. Logan Michael Dean. Nicholas John Dorn. Wesley Richard Doyen. Juan Jose Estrada Arvila. Sarah Elizabeth Franks. Theodore William Adam Hicks. Ayla May Hill. Mary Genevieve Ireland. Kayla Elizabeth Jacket. Spencer Matthew Jasmine. Abigail Bridget Jones. Aiden Scott Lapshier. Haley Marie Leonard. Leland Bernard McCare. Riley McKinley Marshall. Jerome Victor Lincoln Morris. Keegan William Olson. Jonathan William Paul Manasseh. Anne Elizabeth Moran, presented by her father. Evangeline Jane Petkovich. Amber Niala Ramjaran. Grace Elizabeth Riva. Vivian Alexandra Roberts. Isaiah Robles. Alexis Bree Rougeau. Flynn Michael Ryan. Hudson Lane Sobranik. Sophia Michaela Sang. Rebecca Lynn Storm. Jimmy Ismail Villarreal. Isaac Bernard Watkins. Peyton Chad Wells. Ryan Michael Zanny. Ethan Zhang. Marissa Ann Zenke. Veronica Bonet. King Ashton Carney Cousins, presented by his mother. With honor, Dana Sue Sicardi, presented by her sister. With greatest honor, Yaritza Vega. Let's hear it for the class of 2024. At this time, I would like to invite Finn Cousins, President of the Class of 2024, to the podium to administer the oath of Athenian U. With the Class of 2024, please rise.
We will never bring disgrace on this, our community. By any act of dishonesty or cowardice. We will fight for the ideals and sacred things of the community. Both alone and with many. We will revere and obey the community's laws. And will do our best to incite a like reverence and respect. In those above us who are prone to annul them, or set them at naught. We will strive increasingly to quicken the public sense of civic duty. Thus, in all these, we will transmit this community. Not only, not less, but greater, better. And more beautiful than it was transmitted to us. At this time, for the class of 2024, please move your tassels.
Good sportsmanship medals are awarded for participation, academic excellence, cooperation, and coachability in varsity sports and related activities. This year, the awards go to Haley Leonard and Easton Zhang. citizenship, medals are awarded to the girl and the boy in the senior class who by conduct and example best exemplify the high ideals of scholarship, character, leadership, and service. This year, the awards go to Anne Moran and Dana Sikari. Patricia Chamberlain, would you please step forward? Patricia Chamberlain began her Region 1 career in 1988, serving as the principal of the Sharon Center School until 2001. She was the region's assistant superintendent from 2001 to 2005, and then the Region 1 superintendent from 2005 until her retirement in 2017. Patricia has always had a love of and a deep appreciation for the arts. Patricia was the Region 1 arts coordinator for many years. She fostered the development of the musical theater program at Housatonic. She established the Grade 4 Arts Day, and she volunteers her time to raise funds for music, art, and theater programs in Region 1. The Chamberlain Arts Achievement Award is given in honor of Patricia Chamberlain, former principal and superintendent in Region 1. This year's recipients are Sophia Brooks and Aaron Ladani. Each year, we honor a person who exemplifies what it means to serve our Region 1 community. It means getting involved to make the community better through volunteerism, support, and commitment. This year, the Community Award of Merit goes to Nancy Hagee Martin. In honor of Nancy Hagee Martin's outstanding dedication and contributions to our community, we extend our heartfelt congratulations on being awarded the Community Award of Merit. For the past decade, Nancy has served as the Administrative Director for the 21st Century Fund, demonstrating exemplary leadership and stewardship in managing the business operations of the fund. Her tireless efforts have resulted in significant donations and contributions that have enriched student programs and educational initiatives within our region. Nancy's unwavering commitment to safeguarding the mission of the 21st Century Fund has been truly commendable. She has ensured alignment between the fund's values of promoting innovative programs and the needs of students, teachers, and organizations associated with Region 1, thereby fostering a culture of excellence and innovation in education. Beyond her role with the 21st Century Fund, Nancy has been a passionate advocate for innovative technology and programs within the Mahoney Hewitt Science and Technology Center. Her vision and leadership have helped to shape the center into a hub of creativity and exploration for our students. Additionally, Nancy has served as a vital communication resource for our region, spearheading the production of regional newsletters, videos showcasing our schools, and the redesign of the Region 1 and HVRHS websites. Through her efforts, she has helped to elevate the visibility and reputation of our schools within the community. Nancy's impact extends far beyond her professional endeavors. Her dedication, passion, and unwavering commitment to excellence have left an indelible mark on our community. We are truly grateful for her outstanding contributions and congratulate her on this well-deserved recognition. Please join us in expressing our deepest gratitude and admiration for Nancy Hagee Martin. Thank you for joining us this evening to celebrate the class of 2024. You are invited to join us for a reception in our cafeteria. Now we ask that you rise for our reception.